Hello world, let's take a look at what you can put in a requires clause. First thing I'm going to do is create a test program that is going to define a concept. I'm going to call it map-like, and I ultimately want it to distinguish that yes, this thing looks like a map, or no, this thing does not. So it should be true on map and false on vector. There are 4 categories of requirements you can use. The first type of requirement is a type requirement. Type requirement has the form of type name followed by some type identifier followed by semicolon. This is not itself a statement in C++. This is the actual form of the type requirement. We can see that for vector, the substitution into map-like fails because vector's value type does not have a first type or second type. Now it does, but it's still not a map, so we need some more tests in our map-like concept. The second type of requirement is called a simple requirement. A simple requirement is just an expression followed by a semicolon. Here I am testing that my value t has the index operator defined on it, taking an element of the type defined by value type first type. You'll notice here that this still works for both map and vector because my vector of pair of int here happens to have a first type that matches vector's indexing operator. So I will need to do more than just this. Like a simple requirement, a compound requirement allows me to test an expression, but a compound requirement will also allow me to test the resulting type of that expression. The way I do this is I take my expression as before with my simple requirement and I put curly braces around it, then use that trailing return type syntax, and whatever type I specify here will be tested against the resulting type of the expression itself. This finally allows me to exclude vector of pair of int because the indexing operator for vector is going to return the pair of int, whereas the indexing operator of map is going to return just the int. The final type of requirement is called a nested requirement. The nested requirement is just another requires clause followed by a semicolon. This allows me to do some things that I can't exactly do in other parts of the concept, like here I can check to make sure that the value of my iterator's iterator category is actually a bidirectional iterator tag. Since isSameValue is a true-false value, this is syntactically valid as an expression. It's just value is going to be true or false is what I want to test, and that's what the requires clause is going to allow me to do here. So in this instance, the requires clause is the thing that I want to use this type trait, and the nested requirement form is what's going to allow me to do that in my concept. As a reminder, I'm still looking for more feedback on the usability of concepts. If you saw my other video, please get those submissions in. If this is news to you, check out the instructions in the description, and I hope to hear from you, and thank you again for any time that you can spare.